Sorry about that. Audio was off for some reason. I did turn it on. Anyway, welcome everybody. Episode 2, live stream. Just getting set up here. Should be about there. You go. How you doing, Danielle? What else do we got today? So anyway, like I'm saying, I'm just trying to get the setup together. I still don't have the Elgato green screen. It's on order from Amazon. Should be in at the sort of around the first or second week of June. I'm hoping sooner. And then I'll have like a, you won't see my crappy office in the background. It's not too bad, but it's, it could be better. So, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Trying to get on this live stream bandwagon. I've been slacking so bad on video stuff lately. I just a bunch of stuff going on with us here, so I thought I'd get into the live stream, get some stuff set up. Hey Dan, how's it going? Glad you guys could join us in the middle of the afternoon. I'm still trying to nail down a time frame that works for everybody. I know Doug's gonna be tough because he's in Australia time, so but anyway, I did have a few things that I wanted to go over today, but I just want to see how you guys are all doing. Let's see who all we got creator fundamentals and cutting the caboose in the chat, and let's see if there's anyone else. Pop-out chat's kind of weird. It doesn't really show me. I actually have to go to the other screen to see how many are in. Concurrent viewers. See, this thing's not updating. Anyway, just talk a little bit about my setup at the moment. So, after Dan's success with the stream bots, I decided to try and set that up myself. I put a little bit of a twist on it, though. If you guys see this here, it's the hit points. I'm calling it shield strength. Some of you may or may not know I'm kind of a Trekkie, so we're going with the fact that if you knock me out here, sending me donations, then it actually reduces shield strength, and once it goes to 0, you take me out and you become the boss. Or should I say the galactic enemy number 1 that everybody has to take out. So that's what's going on there. And I actually can't see. I can see artifacts and digital noise. Oh, there's I have some white noise from the hum. Let me turn it down a bit. How's that? The visual artifacts, yeah, I'm not sure what that is yet. Like, I have some filters on for the green screen that I've been playing on and off, so that could be causing some issues. I'm only streaming at 720 today. Digital noise, though. Okay. Well, hopefully that fixed the background hum. I was debating on whether to keep that in or not. Let's see here. So, anyway. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've been messing around with audio. So that should be... Okay, let's see. I'm hitting... See if that's any better. See if that limit... Does that work for you now? Oh, nice. Let's see. Creator fundamentals. Dan, thank you very much. That's awesome, man. Thanks. So yeah, the setup. I did a custom setup. I've used Photoshop. Basically, what I've done. It's kind of hard to show you, but actually, let me go into desktop mode. Maybe I can bring that up and show you. Just gonna go over OBS Studio. Oops. Sorry about that. I got a million buttons here. Go into desktop. I didn't want number 1. All right. So on the right-hand side, I basically set up the chat, and I'm pulling chat in from the pop-out chat. And I'm using Streamlabs for the YouTube, pulling like the YouTube number in, and obviously the Stream Boss. But I'm not using Streamlabs itself, mainly because the core of OBS, what they've been doing is it's been out of date. So they've been getting better at throwing updates out, and now finally they have Studio Mode, which allows you to kind of preview things before you put it up to the screen. But I'm just pulling elements in, and let's see if I can give you kind of a, like you can see all my scenes on the left-hand side here that I switch between. But like this scene, for example, is there's some stuff I'm playing with, and then you can turn the certain things off. Put a ticker bar on there, and that's just a link to a text file, for example. The images are all, like I said, all done in Photoshop. I created them myself. And there is a background video, but it's not working at the moment because I don't have the green screen set up. But let's see. Says we got 3 online. Okay, so it looks like I got the audio fixed a little better. It seemed okay when I was recording it, but maybe it's just a bit too loud there. Okay, get rid of that. So if we switch back to here, and put that back over here. A lot of it is just getting used to the controls, and because I keep changing things, so then I'll remember to hit something and I'll be like, oh, it's not there anymore. I'm using the Stream Deck, and I'm getting pretty good at that, by the way. Stream Deck, or Elgato, just released a new version. It's version 3 for the Stream Deck, and it actually allows, I don't know if you guys can see that, probably not, but you can use animated GIFs on the Stream Deck now for the icons. So I thought that was pretty cool. So in Photoshop, you can actually create animated GIFs from movie files. So if you have a movie or animated of something that you have, you can actually output animated GIF files. So that's kind of neat, because it kind of draws your attention to the icons a bit more. Like with them just being static, it's fine, but sometimes if you want something to move or whatever, or just grab your attention for a specific key. I'm thinking about maybe doing something for the mic key because I keep forgetting to turn that on. So anyway, let's see what else we got here. So scene-wise, I have something new I'm trying out today, and this is a live feed from my camera downstairs, and it is my aquarium, as you can see. So the software is, I'm using a Samsung Galaxy S5, and it's able to, well, there's this app called, I think it's called IP Streamer. I didn't put a link in the description, but I will later for anybody who wants to try it out. But it's a free app, and it's amazing. Basically, with a few setup options, you can turn any Android phone, it's got to have the right hardware, mind you, but you can turn it into a streaming webcam. So I figured, okay, well, why not? So I set it up, put it on a tripod, and I plugged in an external battery. You could plug it into the wall as well, but I was being a bit lazy. So it's streaming live right now. So I have it set up at 720. I found when you set it up to 1080p or 4K, it just, like the Galaxy S5, which is an older phone, it can do 4K, but it really clocks the processor to do that. So I figured, well, I'm only streaming in 720 to begin with, so it should be okay. So hopefully it looks okay to you guys. I'm just going to collapse this window a little bit because I can't see your chat. Yeah, the Stream Deck is awesome. I debated about getting one because I wasn't sure if I was gonna get into to live streaming much, but I figured it's kind of fun. It's easy to get some content up, and I usually find something within the week that I could either talk about or something like that. So, and I got a few other things too. So I'm gonna switch back to me. Let's see what else is going on here. Oops. Yeah, so it's called the IP Streamer for Android. You guys should just download it and try it out because I was pretty surprised. It creates a web server on the phone itself. So all you have to do in OBS is basically just set a video source. Oh, that's not the right one. I think it's a video source. Oh no! Okay, yeah. So all you do is you just create a media source. Sorry. You create a media source and tell it that it's not local, and then in the link you just add in the web address that the cam tells you on the screen to put in. So it's, I mean, so far I'm still testing it out. I don't know if there's like a time limit or anything, but I had it running for over an hour. My phone got a little bit warm, so I didn't. I turned it off for a bit before I started the stream just to make sure that things are going to work during the stream. But yeah, it works great. So that's one thing you guys can check out. I tried to use GoPro Hero 4 because there was a lot of discussion a while back about using that as a streamable cam, and it turns out that with all the updates and stuff like that, I think GoPro has turned a lot of that stuff off, and it's not very useful because you can't stream in anything higher than like 240p, which, I mean, I guess for previewing is okay, but it just doesn't have the horsepower. I don't know about the newer ones, like the Hero 6 or Hero 5, whether they can do live streaming or not. It would be handy because, I mean, it's got wireless built into it, so, and the packages are just so small that I think it'd be super convenient. You could put, like, if you bought a few of those GoPros, you could put them wherever as a multicam kind of setup, and link them right in through your home router into OBS, which would be awesome. A lot of kind of flexibility there to do, like if you're working on something, you want to show a different angle or something during the middle of it, you have your stream deck there, you just, hit a couple of buttons and change your perspective. But unfortunately I didn't get it to work, so I think there's some software that might work with it, but I just gave up, and then I ended up finding this, and this is like, sort of like the Cadillac, and it was free, so not much to set up. So, like I said, I'm still waiting for my green screen from Amazon. Oh, hey, did you guys hear that Margot Kidder died? The woman who played Lois Lane in the original Superman. She was only 69, so I thought that was pretty sad to hear that. I mean, dying at 69. I mean, my mother's not much younger than that, so it's pretty sad to hear that. All the Superman fans probably going to be at her funeral. Oh, you met her once. Oh, that's cool. Well, they did film the original, I think it was the original Superman, or was it Superman 2? I can't remember. But they did film in Niagara Falls here, which is pretty close to me. So they always talk about that one scene, and I know exactly where it was shot. It was shot right at the brink of the falls, right next to the falls. I forget what year that was. I think it was like in the 70s or something. Anyway, I was going to go through a couple things on, let's see, there it is. So I've been looking into routers, last night we had a heck of a time with getting our router to properly use a bunch of different devices. I don't know if you guys have experienced this once in a while, but I don't know whether it's just too many devices or there's too much interference or something, but we kind of live in a neighborhood that is just saturated by students and student networks and stuff. And so we have a 2.4 gigahertz setup, and if you don't know bands, basically bands of the transmission frequency, 2.4 is like the old style. It only has 3 clean channels, and 5 gig is like the new one, and I think it has like 10 or 11 or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. It might be a bit less. So if you guys subscribe to any kind of like here in Canada, it's like Bell high-speed TV through the phone. And they have like a little unit that you like a wireless unit that you can optionally get and stream the TV from the main unit to the other unit, and that's usually on a 5 gig signal. So I was doing a little investigation last night, and I found out that our 5 gig is mostly fine, but our 2.4 is just like there's probably 12 networks all sharing channels 1, 6, and 11, or 3, 6, and 11, something like that. Anyway, the clean channels. So 2.4 is a real problem. Anyway, where I'm going with this is I was trying to figure out if there was a better router than what we had that could overcome it, or whether there's anything we can kind of do. And so I started looking around. I'm just reading your comment here. Yeah, the 2.4. See, the thing with 2.4, like, if you guys are technology people, or I don't know if you are or not, but 2.4 gigahertz, because of the wavelength, it's a longer signal. It can go further distances, and it can also go through stuff a lot easier. 5 gig can't go through stuff as easy, and now with the new 40 gigahertz coming out, which is basically a room-only technology. So if you buy a tri-band router now, the third band is that 40 gigahertz, and it's really meant as a display or within the same room kind of technology. So I think the wireless folks are kind of having trouble getting around licensing and trying to figure out ways to sort of figure out the congestion problems. But anyway, so 2.4 they can't really do anything with because it's only got 3 clean channels. So in our neighborhood, like, we have everything from wireless printers next door, and the walls are thin too in these places. Like, I'm living in a townhome, so there's not a lot you can do. But I was surprised. I was looking online last night, and I didn't realize this, but apparently they sell electromagnetic frequency paint that apparently conducts electricity. So they have these people that can come out, they'll paint your walls, and then they attach it to like some sort of metal stripping or something, and it'll actually help with electromagnetic interference in a room. But they also said that in order to completely block out everything, like cell towers, you'd have to basically paint the whole room, like cover this stuff all over your house. So I don't think a lot of like older houses or existing houses are really gonna do that, because it can get quite expensive to do that. But then I also read that apparently it's a bigger problem in like high density housing like us, but also in like Tokyo, where they're renovating houses, or not so much houses, but apartments, condos, and the new construction over there, they're starting to think about using that in their construction and stuff. Yeah, it's basically a Faraday cage. Yeah, 5 gigahertz. Yeah, 5 seems to be the sweet. Like it seems to be not that bad, but yeah, setting up use of redundant routers. Yeah. So anyway, my wife This all started because my wife last night was trying to get on our internet, and or on our wireless, and stay connected to her. Like, she was working from home, so she was trying to use the AC router, or the AC, and we don't have any AC devices in the home, but the router is supposed to be able to handle AC, so it's the first time the AC was really kind of 802.11 AC. I mean, not air conditioning. So it's the first time that was really kind of put under strain and at the edge of our house, and our house isn't that big, so so we were just trying to figure out ways to alleviate that. Now we have like range repeaters in the house as well, which is ridiculous for a house this size, but it's the only way we can kind of broadcast the signal big enough. So she had problems on and off, and then I don't know, she did manage to get some work done, but it was just really weird. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting topic. I'd bring that up. Let's see what else is going on today. Oh, I watched was watching Netflix on Saturday, I think it was, and I happened to catch the movie War Machine with Brad Pitt and Ben Kingsley. It was kind of an odd movie. It started out kind of funny, and then it wasn't. If you haven't watched it, I would watch it, because there is some kind of funny parts. But if you're not into U.S. military stuff at all, then don't bother, because it's I don't want to spoil it, but it was kind of a neat storyline, but it wasn't as funny as I was hoping it would be. But anyway, I still haven't seen Infinity War either, by the way. Have you guys seen that yet? Yeah. Yeah, the movie was it was strangely paced, and then they, and they put a serious moment sort of in the third act almost. Like, it was, normally the third act should be about a quarter of the movie, or a little bit less than a quarter of the movie, and it seemed like that point was almost really at the end of the movie. So I don't know, it was a bit odd. Yeah, Infinity War. I'm curious to see, because like every Avengers movie that I've seen, and I'm trying to think how many. I think I've seen them all now, except for the newest one. Like, they've always kind of outdid the last one, and it's like, just when you think it can't get any better, it's better. And I don't know how they do that. So I'm curious, like, who gets the most screen time in this one, and like, don't spoil it for me, but like, it's almost like the whole industry has now gone around Avengers. Yeah, raises the bar really high. Well, I am looking forward to seeing it. I'm gonna wait till all the crowds go away, or even I'll wait to the point where it's out on Netflix. But that could be a while. New characters, eh? That's alright. Yeah, basically what I've been watching on Netflix is just, I've been watching like a ton of Star Trek stuff again. For whatever reason, I'm stuck on Star Trek right now. I'm also kind of, well, I took a break for a while, but I actually was writing my own Star Trek show. And I kind of took a break from it because I've been looking at, or doing other things, but I got to get back to it. I kind of had the small hope in the back of my head that Star Trek, like, I don't know if you guys ever watched Star Trek Discovery at all, but I have not been into Star Trek Discovery, and there's a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is it's not easy to get access to watch it. Now, a lot of people are saying, like, oh yeah, it's on your actual TV, but for those of us that don't want to pay for really expensive TV, because in Canada, like the Bell packages and stuff that you have to actually spend to actually get it I mean, you're talking $80 a month minimum. You know, in some cases, sometimes it's a little bit cheaper than that. But so we kind of went on a like, we haven't had actual cable or TV in quite a while, and I mean, financing has been one of it, but we ended up just basically sticking with Netflix and free-to-air stuff. And I'm also going to be trying out an Android box. My friend was recommending there's some stuff on Android boxes too that you can get. But anyway, so because Star Trek isn't on Netflix in Canada, which doesn't make any sense to me at all, it's not on it in the States either, which I find strange. You know, like a show like that, like, I don't know, maybe it'll eventually get on there, but I know in the UK they have it. A friend of mine has it from the UK. He's got a UK account. But anyway, and there's a couple other reasons too. The continue what they did to the Klingons in Discovery, I'm at first was for, and then after a while I was against. They have not portrayed the Klingons well in Discovery, and I mean, you could argue yes or no, but in my mind, I mean, they came up with a D7 and it's not even a D7. They've completely blown the timeline of what ships should actually be then, like they're supposed to. There's no, it's just, to me, I got the feeling like designers just came in and changed everything and didn't follow any of the rules of the universe, or they just neglected certain things for trying to gain audience, and they've at least for me, they've really ruffled feathers with, because certain things just don't jive. I mean, some of the characters just don't work for me. It's hard to get attached to some of them, and like, I've only seen, now keep in mind, I've only seen like 4 episodes, the first 4 episodes, so it was pretty tough. But from what I've read and what I've talked to other people, and I mean, a lot of the storytelling in the first season, it's like, okay, why did you guys like go into all that, and then you didn't even pull it off well. The whole Klingon War, for example, was not explained well. Yeah, see, I have a big problem with the spore drive, because it's never been mentioned anywhere, and it's, as a plot device, it is the worst kind of plot device you could have, because it is too powerful. It's too powerful for the universe. Hey, Sonics Explorer, how you doing? Thanks for joining the live stream today. Yeah, the Tholian web, but the difference between the Tholian web, though, is the Tholians need more than one ship to pull the web off. And it also takes some time. If you've seen them set that thing up, it's not a very effective weapon. Like, once you trap a ship, sure, but you have to disable it first, right? It would never work on a larger scale, for sure. I mean, but as a transportation device, like if we're specifically talking in universe, and we're talking about warp drive versus, you know, like even the quantum slipstream had some limits. There were specific crystals they had to make, and there were alien technology involved, and it wasn't easy, and it had a lifetime. Like it wasn't, you know, like the only thing I can equate the spore drive to, and the other thing about the spore drive that really upset me too was like the Federation would never endanger a life form or species at the expense of gaining, using it like a slave, or the whole concept was just like, I know Lorca ended up turning out to be you know, from the alternate universe, but that kind of seemed like a cop-out to me, because the alternate universe guys seemed to be a little more harsh, and he wasn't at first, and it was just, I don't know. Anyway, I did see a couple of like clips from that, so I haven't got the whole story, so I can't comment on that whole thing. And then the thing is, at the end of the season, they bring in the Enterprise. Why? Like, you know, like they're going to tie into the Enterprise, but they're not going to do it well, because, you know, they're going to have to recreate upgrade sets. They're gonna have to, like, they got to be very careful going into the second season. And I might be wrong. I might turn around and things look good. I know the uniforms that they're starting to come out with are gonna look fantastic. Hey, Custom CO. It's funny. I just said costumes, and I see Custom CO come in. Hi, how you doing? Thanks for joining the live stream today. Yeah, for those of you just coming in, if you didn't know, this is my hit point counter. So any donations go towards being the stream boss, or the galactic ruler, I call it. Actually, I forgot what I called it in the thing. Yeah, it's true. Actually, I'm curious. I'm curious what your thoughts are about the new. Like, I don't know if you watch Star Trek Discovery or not. Costume. That's what we're talking about right now. So, if you're talking, I'm kind of curious as to your thoughts on the differences between all the uniforms. Actually, the whole uniforms in Trek in general might be a good topic for you to cover one day. I don't know if that's. I know it's sort of out of your. You do more of the Game of Thrones and sort of the. But you do a few other things too, so might be something, because the materials that they use too are really interesting on those spacesuits. I mean, everything from like the old TOS era to, I mean, current stuff. Yeah, the Orville. I haven't seen that yet. Seth MacFarlane, he's pretty damn funny. Yeah, you love sci-fi. Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it, but I just have no way to see it at the moment. I don't know if it's on. Is it? It's not on Netflix yet, is it? Probably not. It's probably too new of a show. Yeah, very limited right now, unfortunately. But I have seen clips of it. And the thing they pointed out, I mean, MacFarlane is a huge Trekkie. Oh, I know what I was going to bring up too on the issue of science fiction stuff. Do you guys watch Stargate at all? And if you do, did anybody catch the latest Stargate Origins web 6 episode? I think it was 6. Maybe it was more than that. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've been working on it for a little while. The setup, Costume CO just asked. Or said that my setup looks great. I appreciate that. Yeah, Stargate's one of my favorites as well. Trek and Stargate and Battlestar Galactica, but it's kind of more of a third than the other two. Yeah, so if you haven't seen Stargate Origins, they, in my mind, this is what Discovery should have done. They should have put Discovery out on a cheaper membership and let anybody watch over the web, because that gives you a better audience take, or a better audience interaction for one, and for two, it reaches more people. Like Origins, if you didn't know, if you go to Stargate.com, I think it is, and you can. I think you downloaded an app on your phone and you pay $20 through that app, and they unlock you and you're able to watch all the Stargate Origins stuff that they filmed. And I thought it was pretty good. I didn't see it all yet. I've only seen the first 3, and the first 3, by the way, are free to watch on the site. At least they were. I don't know about today, but. Oh, cases? Yeah, that's the cases behind me. Some of it's film stuff, actually. Yeah, like I have lenses, and the top one here is. Top one here is my GoPro stuff. It's all my GoPro stuff. They're in case you guys are interested in getting cases like these are really good cases. They have a claw latch, and they have a seal, and a lot of them are okay for travel and stuff like that on airplanes. They have a pressure equalizer valve, and they're not too bad in price. They're from a Canadian company in Quebec, and I believe they do ship to the States. So, or I'm not sure if, I don't think they ship to Australia though. I'd have to check. But hey, Foulfish, how you doing? Thanks for joining this. Thanks for joining the stream. But they have all kinds of sizes, and all different prices too, depending on what you need. But they're called Nanook. So let me put that in the chat. Actually, let me try and find the link for you guys. There is an online seller. Now, I don't have any affiliate link or anything to this at the moment, but these guys have been pretty good. So if you're looking for a case, check them out for camera stuff and pretty much whatever you need it for. Like there's inserts and stuff you can get. But I've been very happy with these cases. Yeah, I know. It is a very Canadian name, isn't it? Hey, sometimes we make good stuff, you know? Or should I say, eh? Oh, so how many of you guys have checked out the Lost in Space series on Netflix? We just finished watching, my wife and I just finished watching season 1. I was really impressed by it. Now, I wasn't a fan of the old Lost in Space stuff. I thought it was really cheesy and not well done, and I don't even know if I actually saw the one with what's his name, Matt something from Friends. I can't remember his last name, but from what I remember, I don't think that was that good of a movie. At least I don't think it got that good of a review. I might be wrong. Maybe I should look it up before I... Let me see. LeBlanc, yeah, thanks. I can't find it now anyway, but 3 episodes in. Yeah, Lost in Space. It's on Netflix. It's good. It's good. I like it. The story is well done. There's enough to keep you keep you interested, to keep you wanting to go back and watch for more. The production quality is really good. Big time, I won't spoil it, but there's a big time cliffhanger at the end of season 1. But they're coming back for season 2. It got greenlit, so that's probably not going to be on Netflix till early spring 2019 again, though. That's the only problem with Netflix, is the whole season basically has to be done before it shows up. They also announced on Netflix, or sorry, they also announced just in general, I don't know if you guys follow Gotham at all. Season 5 of Gotham it was announced recently. That's gonna be the last season of that show, though. I haven't watched that in forever. I have to go back and watch a few episodes because I forget what happens. But that's a really good show too. I was surprised when I watched that how good that show was. Because you know you get into something and it's like, okay, another Batman show, but no, this one's really good. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. also got a 6th season, I found out today. But it's going to be shorter. It's probably going to be like 13 episodes. And that's they're not sure whether that's going to be the last year, but my guess is it's probably going to end after 6. I think I'm behind on a couple of seasons. I think I left off at season 4. So I might have one season I have to watch, but Caboose saying, apart from the battle armor, seeing the Lost in Space movie was a tragedy. The new Netflix show is terrific. Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. Oh, and the big hit was one of the only true sci-fi shows out right now. The Expanse has been canceled, so there's not going to be a season 4. So there's only a total of 3 seasons of The Expanse. I started getting into that show. I think I watched 1 season. I don't think I've watched the 2nd season yet. It's on Netflix, though. Sure our stream is going here, okay. Alright, and for those that came in, I'll just switch over to my other cam here. Just so you guys get a chance to see it. So this is a live view of my aquarium that's downstairs. Oh. Cutting the caboose with the donation. Nicely done. Cutting the caboose is now the Galactic Emperor. Yep. I'm using OBS, but I'm using Streamlabs overlays. Custom CO asked me. So I pull them in. Basically what I do is I set up OBS, then I set up Streamlabs, import all my stuff into Streamlabs. And then once you make all those connections, because everything is basically a web link of some kind, what I've been doing is, because Streamlabs OBS is behind in a lot of the updates, changes things and kind of limits you, whereas OBS still has, like, if I want to make a change to something, I can't really do it in Streamlabs OBS. Like, I can, but I can't. So if it's customizing a background or adding this or whatever. So what I did is I just went back to OBS, pulled in anything I customized from Streamlabs, because Streamlabs is also a website. It's not just a program, right? Like, the program is after, sort of. So you set up the account. So all their Streamlabs integration is handled on Streamlabs' website. So if you want the alert ticker, you can actually import that into OBS. See if I can show that. Let's see here. On the, so for example, like, you'll see the, like, up here is the donation, the Stream Boss donation thing. The Stream Boss is part of Streamlabs. And basically, Streamlabs will create in Streamlabs in the Streamlabs interface. They'll show you, like, you can reveal the token code or the link, and it's a web link. So when you want to pull it in, all you do is you call it a media source, and you don't call it a local file. This is in OBS again, and then you paste that link in there, and it'll pull in that web link for you. It takes a lot of customizing to get things where you want, and then you can move it around on the screen and size it and that kind of thing. So it's pretty cool. I've been having a lot of fun just playing with this stuff and trying to get it set up and looking decent, and so yeah, it's been that part's been a lot of fun. Streamlabs is free. Oh, there's audio clicking. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the background hum off and see if that's okay. you guys can let me know if that's better. Oh, I also have a background video. That shouldn't be... Okay. So, yeah, the background hum, I was trying to play with white noise stuff to try and make it sound like I'm on a ship or something like that. That's what that was. So, apparently it's not... You guys are saying it's too distracting. Okay, it's interesting to know, too, because, like, if you're playing it on the phone, it might sound different than if you're... have a better audio, kind of... Alright. Well, maybe I'll just leave it off then. I know Nick's been trying music and stuff on his. I might do that too, but it's more about finding the ambient, like, because too much or too loud or the wrong choice of music, and it kind of doesn't work. So it's neat to play with stuff though. So one of the things I want to start maybe doing, and I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this, but I don't know, maybe I can get your guys' feedback on this, is reviewing intro videos. What's all in a good intro video? Rate the visual style, what they've shot, does it convey the message, and giving an overall grade to the intro video without actually going through and playing a whole intro video with audio, just from a visual perspective. So that's one thing I was thinking of doing. Yeah. Cutting the caboose is just saying that the problem with the background audio is YouTube applies a compressor to the stream when it's processed. It can really muddy the vocal. Yeah, that's true. And I haven't really played enough with it to see sort of what would work, what doesn't. So I might just leave it off, to be honest with you. Sound effects are good enough for me. Speaking of sound effects, I got a few more sound effects too. That's the cool thing about the Stream Deck, is you can just, you know, like, create the red alert sound. You know, I got a few. So I could just add those in every once in a while. I haven't figured out where I'm going to put them in, but, I mean, red alerts, obviously, you know, somebody comes into the channel or something, I could tap that, but. So that's just cool, fun stuff that I'm working on. Yeah. Well, I've turned all those sources off now, so those shouldn't be. The only thing you should be hearing is me. And desktop audio should still be going, I think. Okay. Yeah, background video shouldn't have been on, though. I don't know why that was on. Maybe I forgot to turn it off last time. It sounds better, eh? Okay. Well, that is what I will go with then, because then you can hear everything. So anyway, I was thinking, like I said, doing reviews on intro videos, giving out a grade. That's one thing I'm thinking of. I'm also going to, well, I was going to do a little bit of tutorial or talk to you guys about how I set up my Premiere files, if you guys are interested in hearing about that, how you organize footage. Yeah, I forgot, I didn't do a test before I started, so. And it sounds different when you record it local, too. Okay. All right, good to know. I'm also using, like, one of the issues I've had with this computer over the last year is when I upgraded to Windows 10, I'm using an old Creative EMU 2-channel or I guess it's supposed to be 4-channel, but I think it's 2-channel XLR to USB device. It's old. The drivers don't even work for Windows 10, but somehow throughout the last year, I've been through hell with it, but it uses something called an ASIO driver for Premiere and interacting with Windows now, where it used to not. It used to cut out like all the time. So with all those audio connections, it sometimes it doesn't quite work. But usually for this, it's been fine. I think this is the problem. It's just the mixer in OBS. I mean, for all these different audio sources, it just doesn't seem to jive that well. I don't know how you guys think, but yeah, I mean, it's not the mic or the EMU's fault, really. I mean, it's a 24-bit 96 kilohertz imports coming into the machine, and I'm using it's actually a karaoke mic. It's a Behringer something or other with an XLR. I had this laying around from a long time ago. Bought a whole bunch of audio stuff, and I think it sounds decent. It's not obviously it's not as good as the Rode Procasters that Nick uses, but it's all I got to work with right now. So I also don't have a pop filter on it, but it's got a natural filter on top, so I'm not too worried about that. That's good to know, though. Thanks, Danielle, for telling me about that. All right, so I'm going to jump into I'm going to try to jump into anyway, just talking about structure and how I kind of do things. Yeah, the ASIO. But, well, like I said, it's all I got right now. I know there's newer ones. Danielle's talking about the driver, that it's a specific driver source that this Creative Labs XLR input uses. And it's, like I said, it's old. Amazon's got some new ones. Actually, I was looking at one. There's a store called Canada Computers. Go figure. They had one. I was in there the other day, but this one, that's PreSonus. I'll switch over to desktop for a sec. And this one here seems to be pretty neat. And it's basically what I have, except newer, and it supports the new driver sets and stuff. So it's got the XLR input. But it's a bit pricey for me. I can't afford that right now, but something like that, it's totally convenient, because then you can unplug it. You can also take it otherwhere, like if you're or another location or something. I mean, I've actually used this one for like when we've had family over and stuff, and we needed to plug it into the stereo downstairs to do karaoke, because it's got optical outputs. So you plug in whatever you need to, like a mic like this one, or you plug in a regular sort of mic and stuff, and it worked well for that. So it never hurts to have a second one around, but one specifically dedicated to. I've tried to dedicate this one right now to live streaming, but if I get some extra cash, I'm definitely gonna look into something like this. Yeah, let's just see how the fish are doing. Probably gonna feed them in another hour and a half or so. Yeah, Canada Computers is, for those that don't know, out of country, they're kind of like, they're more of a, I don't know if they're across Canada. I don't know if they have one in BC or not, but they're more of like a regional, sort of Ontario or provincial they sell in the province, basically. They're a good source. Other than Amazon, Canada Computers is like number 2 for us at the moment. It used to be you got everything from Best Buy and Future Shop and maybe like your local computer store, or who did I used to go to? Oh, I used to go to Summit Direct. I don't know if Costume CO will know that one. And then Summit Direct kind of went under. Yeah, it's like a nanny cam. You can, like I said, I mean, the software is free on Android. You can just set it up as long as you have a power source so that it doesn't drain your battery and make sure it doesn't overheat the camera. It's a cool little program. Let's see if I can show you the website for it. See if I'll post the link. Maybe I got the name of it wrong. Okay, it's not coming up as IP streamer. Well, if I find the name of it, I will post it in the comments. I forget how I came across it even. Anyway, it's a brilliant program. I definitely will get that out so you guys can check it out. Zoom H6, yeah. Yeah, those are nice. I think Dan uses that too. Is Dan still in the chat? Dan was here earlier. Maybe he's just popping in. I think his is an H6. I'm not sure. Maybe it might be an H5. Which one of them has XLR inputs, the other one doesn't. But I have a couple of H1s, and I use those basically religiously with recording audio when I'm out or any of my videos. Because I can just throw it in my pocket and then sync it to the main camera's mic, and because I have such a good lavalier mic, I use Aspen mics. You know, it doesn't pick up hardly any background noise at all, and gives you a really nice sound. Okay, so just gonna go to my directory here. Projects. Okay. Just stand by for a second, and I'll switch back over to the desktop. Hopefully you guys can see this. So, when I start a Premiere project, I basically go through and create... I have this template directory that I create. So, to keep all my stuff managed... I created this template directory because it's easier for me to get going on videos every time I have a new project. So within this directory, I've actually created, now ignore some of these others because these are auto-generated, but under here I have project templates for every version of Premiere that I've used. And I'm using the Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. So the one issue I've had with it is that every version of Premiere that they release, they end up changing the version number most of the time. Sometimes they don't. So you have to recreate this for every new version. However, the reason I created the projects file directory is because I only have to do it once, and then if I have any new projects later on that are sort of basic generic projects, then what I do is I just I go in, update these templates, and then it'll save them as the new file, and then save them back to the template directory, so that when I'm creating a new active project, for example, okay, I just copy this directory, and hopefully you guys can see that. Maybe I'll zoom in. Actually, I don't know if I can zoom in. Anyway, these are all just several project names in here, and then I have my project template, and I just create, like, for example, if I'm creating a new segment, like gear review is one of my project folders here. I don't know if I can zoom in, can I? Let's zoom that in a bit. Well, that's something I'm going to have to look at. I don't think I can zoom that in. If you guys know a way, let me know in the chat. But anyway, so this is what I do. Now, for me, it's been a struggle because there are different levels at which you can create templates. And what I mean by that is creating a template structure, this is kind of like the first step. If I'm creating a whole new segment on my site, for example, say I wanted to create a traveling blog or something like that, then I would copy this project file, put it into my active file, rename it, and then I'd go into the directory, and then go into the project files. That's just from the file management point of view, and it's good because it keeps everything together. Like, as you can, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I have like an audio folder. You know, any CGI related files I would put in there. I have images. Anytime I'm doing test outputs, I put it in here. And of course, you can customize this however you want after you've copied it. You know, if I have titles, under audio, for example, I'll have vocals, sound effects, and music that I'm using for those specific projects. And even under there, I'll have subfolders of which episode it is and that type of thing. And it just keeps it all organized in one place, so that if you have to move a whole folder, or you have to do archiving and you need to clear up space, for example, like older projects, I know that most of the stuff's going to be in there. Now, I'm not always perfect. Sometimes I link to stuff and I should actually be copying them over. But within Premiere, there is an option, I believe, to pack up everything into one folder. It doesn't pack it up nicely into your project folder like that. It creates its own folder. But if you did that within that folder, then you'd still have it in that folder, if that kind of makes sense. Because at the end of the day, what you want to be able to do is go, okay, this is your project folder. I want to take this whole folder and move it off my computer without impacting other projects or other things, right? If you need to archive or you need to pack stuff away, that's kind of the best way to do it. So that's what I do for that. Like I said, I have different folders for all the different footage. Now, what my typical workflow is when I start out, I first record the stuff I'm going to record, and that goes into this folder, and this is my raw footage folder. So for every camera I have, for example, actually I keep GoPro in a different location, but there is some GoPro stuff here. But so if I have stuff on my GoPro, my Panasonic GH5, you know, all the stuff I've done on my Canon, I keep those all separate so that I know, you know, okay, this is where my Canon footage is. This is what I shot for this particular purpose, and here's split between video and the photos. So that's step one to every project, is staying organized, knowing where all your stuff is. So does that make sense, everybody? Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries, Danielle. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to be probably cutting this stream short anyway, soon. So that's how basically I stay organized with file management. Now, on the Premiere side, Now, I hope this works because last time I went to open Premiere, it shut off the audio. So I'm going to try it again. I'll show you actually what's inside the... Basically, yeah, I know, a wee bit over your head, I know. But for anybody who's looking for information on the replay, or if you're in the stream looking for just tips or things about how to organize your footage, a lot of people sort of wing it with footage and stuff, but I find that if I don't stay organized, it is so hard to produce content, right? Because if you're constantly looking for, a footage you shot like last year, like how would you organize that? How would you go about finding it on your system? And the best way is to, like I said, just start from the minute that file goes into your system. How are you going to handle where you're going to keep it, or how you can reference it again, so that you know that you can go back to a specific folder and say, okay, I shot this on this camera. This is where my raw footage is. This is where it is. And on the project side, it's more about tailoring. If you're doing a segment, it takes more work to get that segment into a template form. But if you have the files in one place and you have projects set up so that every time you start a new video, you know that that particular project is set to 4K, it is set to a certain bit rate, and it's set to, like have your autosave files somewhere, or whatever the settings are, that when you open that project, you know that you don't have to worry about that stuff. You just concentrate on bringing your files into the structure, working on your files, and actually producing video, because that's really what it comes down to, right? Is you want to focus your time on your video content and not so much on the organization. If your organization is already there, then it's much easier to work with. So, okay, so you guys can still hear me, right? Sat outside in Britain and kept losing 2 bars. Okay. Thank you, the Boss Sheep, for joining us. Losing 2 bars. Oh, well, I'm streaming from Canada. That could be part of the reason. I don't know. Maybe this is a bad time of the day for the underwater network cables that go back and forth to the UK. Anyway, I'm going to open just to kind of show you from a video I worked on, or I am working on now. It's kind of been sluggish with this because I don't have any footage much in here. But what I've done with this project, for example, is I've basically recreated the structure within inside the project files themselves as well. So it's not just the physical file; it's everything that's inside that project file for Premiere for that version. And I've said, okay, so I have, and you'll see a similar structure to what's in the actual file directory on the computer's hard drive. So I have an audio folder, and I have a vocal, sound effects, and music track. And one of the things I do also to keep me organized and to keep me from getting copyright flagged, because I have, some content that isn't exactly, you can't use in a video, basically, is I've tried to break this down into royalty-free and commercial-free, and I also have paid content in here. So I have a subscription to Audio Blocks, for example, but I need to organize my audio files. So that's another area. So within that hard drive, I have a separate folder that's for all the stuff I download from Audio Blocks. And that's licensed. Audio Blocks is really good, by the way, if you want to check them out. I'm not I don't have any affiliation with them or anything. I've paid for their service. I should look into an affiliate commission with them, but yeah, so basically And what I do for the audio, and this is relatively easy, is I just basically do an import, and then I go and find my audio files. Excuse me. And I'll do an import for those. And every time I download something new. Now, this is one thing I wish Premiere would do. I wish it had dynamic folders so that anything that's changed within that subfolder would actually update in Premiere, but it doesn't. So anytime I download a new file or a new music file, and this is specific to music, really. I mean, there's sound effects in here too, but I have to actually remove this folder. So I'll clear this folder, and then I'll re-import the folder, and it'll go through the folder and pull them all back in. And it'll update with the new stuff. So that's what I do for music. So there's other stuff like sound effects. I don't have any here at the moment for that one. And vocal tracks. So if I'm doing an episode and I'm recording for my Zoom H1, the Zoom H1 files will go in here. If I have to do any modification or anything, then I'll create another file, or like this final, for example, and I'll throw them in there. But usually the original recordings are good enough. I try to make sure you get the sound when you're actually filming, to get the sound into the camera or into the H1s with minimal noise as possible. So I don't do a lot of post-processing because, I mean, with the amount of work videos take now, I mean, to have to actually go through a lot of audio processing because you didn't record it right, it's just, you won't get the video done at that point. Sometimes you just have to just go with it and get it in. So then, of course, we have an image folder here, and then I created titles. And with Premiere titling, you can use the old style titling or you can use the new style titling. I still use a lot of the old stuff. I haven't mastered some of the new stuff yet. But the new stuff's pretty cool because some of it can even be linked to Adobe After Effects. But for example, if I pull this up, this is just a title for this particular project. And then I throw my video sequences in here, and I also break down, by which camera. So if I have a multicam setup that I've used, and a couple of videos I've had to use like a couple of GoPros, and then I used my Canon one time, or one time I used my Panasonic GH5, and then I used my, whatever. You separate them in here, and then you can change the name and rename it to whatever camera you're using there. If I have reference footage, so I want to separate and make sure that I'm pulling in a reference video from another video or just stock video. Like, for example, this one is just reference video from one of my aquariums that I had done, previously. So I'll put that in and then label that separate. And then, the whole end result is... yeah, and then I have a template here. So so occasionally what I get into the habit of doing too is like for aquarium videos, for example, I have a template set up for the project. So here it is here. This is a video template here. Now I can duplicate that, okay, and it's your timeline. So if I pull that timeline up, now you see it's the same thing as this one was. And that makes it easy for doing stuff like if your intro doesn't change, for example, and you have a set sort of thematic intro of your certain files, it makes it a heck of a lot easier and time saver to have that in place. Like I have my intro here, okay, and then all I do is I go in and I sort of change the title, right? Saves a lot of time. So that's why I have that here. And then, of course, this is... Oops. Okay, I won't save this project, but I just deleted that one by accident, I think. Anyway, it just saves a lot of time if you're doing a specific segment. So that's what I mean by templating things where you can, because it really does help you. And then, of course, by saving the project file, any of these project settings, will get saved within the project file. Actually, I'm looking for it's not the project settings, it's the sequence settings, sorry. So your sequence settings, for example. So, if you have a specific video codec that you use for your previews because your computer's slow, or like mine, I use the GoPro Cineform codec all the time with QuickTime for the previews because I find it works the fastest on my machine. My machine's a little older now. It's about 5 years old. So this tends to work well for me. And it'll save your framing size and of course your what you recorded in your display format, your time code, basically. Because different projects can have different like if you shoot something on 2997 and it's a 2997 clip, but it's a 23976 format, you're going to have a little bit of a difference there. Vice versa, if you do the opposite, then you'd also have problems. Or not so much problems, but it will convert and your clip won't be the exact. So you want to always set your sequence settings to what your project, that's what you want your project to be. And you try and shoot for that sequence. So as you can see here, most of the time I'm shooting in 23976. It gives you a more cinematic look. That's why I choose that. Whereas 2997 is, we're talking North America, obviously, here. I can go into more depth in another video if you guys want me to go into time code. But so anyway, that's kind of just a brief overlook of project templating in Premiere and sort of my workflow. You guys, if you got any questions about that, put them down in the chat or in the comments down below. Brief check-in on the aquarium. All right. So for our final thing today, this is a thing I'm trying out. And this is, let's see if I can get full screen here. This is the Star Trek quote generator that I found online. Now, with this quote generator, I'm going to do my best to do an impression of one of the Star Trek characters. And I'm going to find one that I can actually do, or try to do. I'm hoping this is, I don't know how good, I've never really done acting. So, this is a new segment, so bear with me. Let's see. So, we're going to hit the quote button, see what we get. Okay, that one we're not going to do. It's a little bit too long. All right, this one I could probably try and do. So this one's by Dr. McCoy. And it's the, sorry, my phone's ringing there. Dr. McCoy, so this is from the 2009. So this is going to be Carl Urban's version of Dr. McCoy. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. All right. First time, live stream, Star Trek quotes, Dr. McCoy. Space is a disease and danger wrapped in darkness and silence. I don't know. How was that? Is that pretty good? Let's do one more. One more. Just getting warmed up here. Okay, that one's not good. It's too long. He needs short ones here. Wow, that's a big one. Okay, let's try this. This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard from the episode The Offspring. Let's see if I can channel Picard. It's hard with this headset on because I can't really channel. Do the whole shirt tuck-in thing. There are times, sir, when men of good conscience cannot blindly follow orders. How was that? And that's all we got today. All right. Well, that's it for the live stream today, guys. That's all I got for you. So hope you guys found something useful, interesting, learned something. I'm going to try to do these weekly. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe. And we will see you guys next time.